So, conversations for action, what we call the loop, was the first piece of the puzzle. In order to get where we want to go, we need to change tact and jump into a body of knowledge known as affect script psychology, which was formulated by an American by the name of Silvan Tomkins in the second half of the last century. Just like our work with the loop started with a simple question, so too does our introduction to affect. The question is, how do we know how we feel? There is a view that says we experience something in our environment, we consider all the things that are going on, think about how we feel, decide maybe that we're happy, and as a result we send instructions to our face to smile. Or we might decide we're sad and have a good cry. Tomkins says we have it back to front. His insight was that instead some stimulus in the environment causes us to smile, which is registered in the muscles and nerves in and around the face. That information is sent to the brain, and as a result, we conclude that because we are smiling, we must be happy. And it's a similar process for feeling sad. The pattern is stimulus, then a physical or somatic response, and then a conscious awareness of a feeling that, if it is sustained, becomes an emotion or mood. Don Nathanson, who's written extensively on affect, proposed a computer metaphor to help us understand the processes at work. He suggests that we think in terms of hardware, firmware, and software. On a computer, your hardware is your keyboard, mouse, motherboard, screen, and all the wires and cables that connect them together. In humans, our hardware is our hands, our ears, our eyes, our muscles, things like our hormones, and our central nervous system. Now, the firmware on your computer is the instructions that come with the hardware. It's how the mouse, for example, converts movement or a click into a signal that can be sent down the wires to the CPU. In humans, this is the role of what Tomkins called our affects. They determine how the messages from our hardware get through to our equivalent of our CPU. This hardware and firmware is all part of our biology, and it's pretty much the same for all of us, with just some minor differences. But then we get to the software that runs over the top of all this. And as you know, depending on the particular software installed on the computer, it responds differently to the signals coming in from the hardware and the firmware. If the software is a spreadsheet, a click might result in the display of a help screen. In a game, for example, the same click will result in the selection of a target that may well be subjected to a devastating attack. In humans, our software is written by our history, and as with the computer, a different history results in a different response. For one person, the response will be a helpful one. For someone else, it may result in a targeted and devastating attack. How we respond is determined by our experiences and social conditioning. It's what we might call our biography.